Mike, my question is, so it wasn't really like a slow start because they only had one drive in the first quarter, but
Mhm.
it was kind of like in the second quarter, there was the turnover on downs, there was the interception, there was the fumble. Like, you really can't ask for a worse second quarter than what you had out of the offense in that one. What were your thoughts about that?
I mean, again, like I said from the very beginning, you got a freshman out there. He is going to make mistakes, and you have to be able to live with those. I can't be mad at him. He was giving max effort, but those are just some things that's going to have to be coached up on. But Will Howard, still working through some things. He still has those risky throws. Shout out to Bryson Rogers catching one of those. But the Buckeyes roll, man.
Yeah, man, they did. And he had another risky throw to Emeka Buka in the end zone, but thank goodness it was right on target, it was exactly the right arm strength. I mean, everything you needed. It had to be the perfect throw to Emeka Buka, and he got it there. Really felt like he turned it on really, really well after the interception. I think he started 100% for like less than 100 yards at the beginning of the game. Then he had that interception. Then he started throwing the ball deeper, that deep ball to Jeremiah Smith. I was like, all
Mhm.
right, I'm glad it was completed. That was way behind him, but I'm glad it was completed. So at the end of the day, I can't really nitpick him too much. He got 5 touchdowns on the day for Will Howard. It is what it is, but for me, just clean up the interceptions, make some better decision making. And if this offensive line, man, we talk about the run blocking, the pass blocking of this offensive line has been pretty doggone good as well. Will Howard not sacked once in this game, I believe, if I'm correct there. Oh,
Mhm.
he was sacked one time in this game. That's the second time he's been sacked on the season. Pretty incredible pass blocking from this offensive line. What do you think of pass blocking? And what do you think about Will Howard overall, Mike?
Man, I just think that this offensive line just continues to get better and better. And people was like, oh, look at who you played. Look at who you played. And, this preseason was the game that I said was going to test our offense to see what we were going to be. I think it's going to be one of the best defenses that we play in the Big Ten. And definitely, that first test. And the Buckeyes got that first test. So shout out to the offensive line and then the run blocking. You're still seeing guys be able to get to the second level. And also, let me say this. I want to say in the pass blocking, Iowa ran a stunt on our left side of the O-line.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to say shout out to Josh Simmons and also Donnie because they did not get confused on the stunt that Iowa tried to pull on them. And I remember last year, that's what we got beat on a lot,
Mm-hmm.
and there was no chemistry. Shout out to those guys for working in, Donnie has been out majority of the season, but you know, turned it on them.
Yeah, he really did. I mean, you can see why they trust the left side of that offensive line so much. Donovan Jackson, All-American. You got Josh Simmons, who, if you've been reading the hype this week, they're talking about first-round potential. We all knew he had it in him. We all knew he was athletic enough. We all knew he had the size for it. He just had to prove it on the field, and right now he is proving it on the field. And so the NFL scouts are definitely taking notice, talking about him as a potential first-round pick. Awesome to see. We can't move on from Will Howard, though, until we do talk about some of the concerns, Mike, which I don't want to, belabor these and stick on them too
Right.
much. But, there were some zone read concerns, him and Quinshawn. There were multiple times I'm like, man, just give it to Quinshawn. And there was the fumble when he had the exchange with Quinshawn as well. The risky throws, not only being risky with throws, but he was late on a few throws. I'm not dogging the guy, but I do think we need to acknowledge him. What's your thoughts, Mike?
Yeah, and here's the thing. It's not dogging them, right? You're just bringing up facts of what we saw on film on the TV, right? And obviously we can go back and reassess some things, but there were definitely some things of concern. And like you were saying, late on throws, I also want to put in there that Will Howard was in a clean pocket, and sometimes he did not allow plays to develop because there was a time if he had waited a couple seconds, you saw where JJ was coming open. I seen
Mm-hmm.
another one where Bryson was coming open, and I'm just like, hey, I just felt like there was no point in rushing it because, like we talked about, the offensive line was really doing a good job against Iowa's front. But yes, he has to stop being late on the throws. The one that Jeremiah caught, um, you know, he that should have been his touchdown right there. Shout
Right.
out to his one hand touchdown and everything, but it should have been a touchdown. The only reason that it was underthrown was because Will Howard was late seeing them open, man. But hopefully this is something that they're going to work on. I will say this: the one deep ball that he did throw and overthrew JJ, I'm not mad at him because most of the time you're not going to overthrow him. But I like you trying to lead your wide receiver. That's something that I would like to see more of rather than underthrown balls.
Yeah. When they came out playing man coverage on our wide receivers, I thought, oh shoot, Will Howard's going to go out there. He's going to test these guys deep a little bit more. He didn't really. I mean, there were a couple times, like you said, the JJ pass there that he overthrew, and then the one later that he underthrew, but JJ still came up with. I like to think that Will Howard knew that JJ had that one-handed catch in him, so he was like, all right, let me underthrow this one. Let me throw it back to JJ, get his highlight reel. It's not a true Ohio State game anymore if JJ doesn't have a highlight reel.
Facts.
One-handed catch or something. So the best part about that, though, Mike, the best part about that catch was he caught it and he just shoved that Iowa defender right off him. Man, he made him look like he didn't even belong guarding JJ Smith. It was fantastic.
Yeah, I don't know if you saw my tweet, but I tweeted out like get off me, B. Let's go, yeah. JJ. Like that, because that's basically what it was. And also it reminded me of the Michigan State game when that DB, thought that he could bully on our little freshman, and JJ's just holding him out there with one arm. I mean, everybody was clowning us like, oh, you're going to count on the freshman. What does that say about your team? That means that you don't have the wide receiver. It's not that. He is ready-made. He's ready-made. Now, like I said, there's some things, that he got to work on, some ball security things, and that's just mental. But physically, athletic-wise, he has it all. Like and you hear his cousin, Geno Smith, saying he is going to be the best wide receiver we have ever seen. And right now, it's looking like it. They were talking about he's about to break Chris Carter's records.
Yeah, they weren't lying about him. He had 4 catches, 89 yards with a touchdown reception in this one. Another wide receiver who had a great game I want to make sure we talk about. And we'll talk about Carnell Tate in a second. I see some people asking about him, but let's make sure we give our flowers to Emeka Egbuka. He was targeted 11 times in this game, had 9 catches for 71 yards and 3 touchdowns. He only had a long of 15, so he was really playing this kind of possession receiver role for Will Howard, really kind of being that reliable guy that he could go to each and every time. Not really something you're used to seeing out of Emeka Egbuka, but man, just this season, it just seems like he is willing to do whatever it takes for the team this year. Not that he hasn't been willing to in the past, but just this year, you can see that leadership, the embodiment of, team first. I'm going to get mine when it happens, but team first. I'm going to block the heck out of the guy in front of me. I'm going to be there when my quarterback needs me. I mean, just talk about the exceptional game we saw from Emeka Egbuka, Mike.
Yeah, I was a little bit critical of Emeka, the couple drops that he had before. And then this game, you just seeing him keeping his eyes right on the ball, looking it in. And that's why he was able to make the difficult catches, because he kept his eyes on the ball, made sure he secured the catch first. So I want to say, like I said, we want to see improvement. That's what we saw from Emeka. And he was locked in. He made some difficult throws. We talk about, obviously, JJ's is always going to be viral and something, but those weren't easy catches that he was making. You're talking about making catches, sometimes probably losing the ball through, defenders' hands out there and things like that. And he was just catching them in a very tight window. So shout out to Emeka. Like you said, he's been doing the dirty things. And then I also want to give him credit. He is still going out there and smacking people and doing his job when it comes to blocking. So kind of a little Terry McLaurin reminders right there, the way he's out there blocking.
it amazes me how many times they put him in motion. And before you see, I mean, he's like playing fullback at times. Before you see Quinshawn or Travion hit the hole, you're seeing Emeka Buka come up into that hole and hit a linebacker, hit a safety, whatever he has to hit. I mean, yeah, I'm convinced if there was a defensive tackle there, he'd take him on, dude. I mean, he is just going out there doing the dirty work. It doesn't matter. He's total team player this season. You can see he is just embodying that, idea of coming back and being the team leader trying to get this championship.